Dhamma. Today, I'd like to speak about a topic that is both ancient and modern, both deeply spiritual and profoundly practical. The nature of the mind. In our time, many people study psychology, neuroscience, and mental health. These fields offer valuable insight. But long before modern psychology exists, the Buddha offered a complete and transformative understanding of the mind, an understanding that leads not only to knowledge but to liberation. Today, let us explore how the Buddhist understanding of mind differs from the definition found in Western psychology. And more importantly, how this understanding can guide our practice, our teaching, and our daily lives. The Buddha began his teaching career with a simple but powerful observation. Mind is the forerunner of all things. Everything we experience, joy, sorrow, peace, conflict, arises from the mind. If we understand the mind, we understand life. If we train the mind, we transform life. Western psychology also studies the mind, but its goals are different. It aims to reduce suffering, improve functioning, and understand behavior. Buddhism aims for something deeper, the complete end of suffering. So, while both traditions look at the same territory, they walk different path. In Buddhism, the mind is not a solid entity. It is not a self, not a soul, not a permanent inner controller. Instead, the mind is a stream of momentary event, rising and passing away faster than lightning. The Buddha described this in many ways. First, chitta, the knowing moment. Second, vijnana, consciousness depends on an object. Third, sankhara, mental formation. Vedana, feeling. Sanya, perception. These are not part of a person. They are process like waves on the ocean. They arise due to conditions and disappear when those conditions cease. This is why Buddhism teaches anatta, non-self. The mind is not mine. It is simply a natural process like wind blowing or fire burning. Western psychology, however, tends to treat the mind as a system, a stable structure with memory, personality, and identity. It assumes continuity. Buddhism sees only momentarians. This difference is profound. One sees the mind as something to understand, the other sees it as something to let go of. The Buddha analyzed the mind and body into five aggregates: form, rupa, feeling, vedana, perception, sanya, mental formation, sankhara, consciousness, vijnana. These aggregates describe everything we call a person, but none of them is a self. None is permanent. None is under our control. Western psychology also divides the mind into parts: cognition, emotion, behavior. But these divisions are based on scientific observations. The Buddhist aggregates are based on direct meditative insight. When we sit in meditation and observe the breath, we begin to see feeling arises and passes. Perception labels an object. Thoughts from and dissolve. Consciousness flickers moment by moment. This is not theory, it is experience. In Buddhism, consciousness is object dependent. There is seeing consciousness, hearing consciousness, thinking consciousness, and so on. Each arises only when its conditions are present. When the eye meets a form and attention is present, seeing consciousness arises. When the conditions end, consciousness ends. Western psychology sees consciousness as a continuous stream, unified and stable. Buddhism sees it as discrete, like frames in a movie. The illusion of continuity is created by rapid succession. This insight is crucial for meditation. When we observe the mind carefully, we see that thoughts are not my thought. They are simply events arising and passing away. This is the beginning of freedom. Perhaps the greatest difference between Buddhism and Western psychology is the understanding of the self. Western psychology treats the self as a personality, a set of traits, a narrative identity, something to strengthen or heal. Even when it acknowledges that the self is constructed, it still sees it as necessary for mental health. Buddhism teaches the opposite. The self is a misunderstanding, a story created by craving and ignorance. Clinging to this story is the root of suffering. When we see through the illusion of self, we experience peace. This does not mean we become passive or empty. It means we stop fighting reality. We stop defending a self that never exists. This is why the Buddha said, in the seen, there is only the seen. In the heard, only the heard. In the cognized, only the cognized. No I behind it, no mind within it. Western psychology studies the mind to predict behavior, treat disorders, improve functioning, enhance well being. These are noble goals. But Buddhism studies the mind for one purpose: into suffering. Every teaching, mindfulness, concentration, ethics, wisdom, point to this goal. The mind is not studied for curiosity, but for liberation. Why? This is why the Buddha said, I teach suffering and the end of suffering. Understanding the mind is the path to freedom. Buddhism uses three trainings: Sila, ethical conduct. Ethical purifies the mind by reducing agitation, guilty, and conflict. A mind free from remorse becomes calm and ready for meditation. Second, samadhi, concentration. Meditation stabilizes the mind. A concentrated mind sees clearly like a still lake reflecting the moon. Third, panya, wisdom. Wisdom sees the true nature of phenomena, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, non self. The wisdom cuts the root of suffering. Western psychology also trains the mind through therapy, cognitive restructuring, behavior modification, but it is method aimed to adjustment, not liberation. Buddhist training aims to awakening. Western psychology sees emotion as evolutionary responses, neither good or bad, adaptive or maladaptive. Buddhism sees emotion as karmically potent. Greed, hatred, and delusion are unwholesome. Loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity are wholesome. This ethical dimension is unique. In Buddhism, emotions are not just psychological, they are spiritual. When anger arises, it is not simply a feeling, it is a cause of future suffering. When compassion arises, it is not simply pleasant, it is a cause of future happiness. Thus, emotional training is not just therapy, it is karma. Western psychology uses experiment, surveys, brain scans, behavioral observation. These methods look from the outside. Buddhism uses mindfulness, introspection, meditation, and ethical reflection. These methods look from the inside. Both are valid, both are useful, but they reveal different aspects of the mind. A neuroscientist can tell you which part of the brain light up when you feel compassion, but only meditation can show you how compassion arises, how it feels, and how it transforms the heart. Today, there is a beautiful dialogue between Buddhism and Western psychology. Mindfulness based therapies, compassion training, trauma sensitive meditation, neuroscience of meditation, acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical behavior therapy. Western psychology is discovering what the Buddha thought 2600 years ago, that the mind can be trained, that awareness heals, and that letting go brings peace. But Buddhism goes further. It offers not only healing but awakening. As practitioners and teachers, how do we use this knowledge? First, observe the mind as a process. When anger arises, see it as a passing event, not my anger. Second, notice impermanence. Every thought dissolves, every feeling changes. This insight weakens clinging. Third, cultivate wholesome state. Loving kindness, compassion, and mindfulness purify the mind. Fourth, let go of the self story. The more we clinging to me, the more we suffer, the more we release, the more we are free. Fifth, use Western psychology wisely. Therapy, science, and mental health tools can support practice, but they cannot replace insight. Dear friends, the Buddhist understanding of mind is not just a philosophy, it is a path, it is a mirror that shows us who we truly are. Not a self, not a personality, but a flow of conditions. When we understand this, we stop clinging. When we stop clinging, we stop suffering. And when suffering ends, the heart becomes vast, peaceful, and free. May we all learn to observe the mind clearly, train it wisely, and use it as the path to liberation. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings awaken to truth. May all beings be at peace. Thank you very much.